When this video goes up, the Shonen Jump manga Chainsaw Man would have released its last chapter and would have concluded. A part of me is upset about the ending of Chainsaw Man. For one, Chainsaw Man is one of the first mangas that I've ever read. I know this is going to be hard to believe seeing that I'm a huge anime and manga fan, but I only started reading manga in January of 2020, with my first manga being My Hero Academia. Then a few months later, my friend Mr.Energy dropped an amazing video on Chainsaw Man. Make sure to check him out. After watching the video, I decided, why not? And went ahead and read Chainsaw Man. And I instantly fell in love with the manga. It holds a special place in my heart, and I'm sad to see it end. But I'm also glad. I'm glad that I got to experience this manga in the first place, and I'm also glad to see Chainsaw Man ending on its own terms. Or I would have said that if it wasn't for the recent news, because I started the script before we got the news that Chainsaw Man was getting not only an anime, but that it was moving to Jump Plus and continuing its story. When they said the end, it just meant the end of the public safety saga. My original plan for this video was to talk about my favorite things of Chainsaw Man and then wait until the last chapter came out and then proceed to, record the rest of the video by talking about the last chapter. I did all this because I had the thought that Chainsaw Man would be ending, but it's fine. I'm not complaining. Glad to have Chainsaw Man still here. I'm still gonna upload this video though because the show must go on. Oh, this video will contain spoilers for Chainsaw Man because let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you've already read Chainsaw Man. This video is just gonna be an overall celebration for Chainsaw Man, talking about some of the best moments in the manga, or at least mine anyways. You guys can put yours in the comment section below. Also, while you're at it, go ahead, drop a like, subscribe for more videos, but enough chit chat, let's get into the video. When I first looked at Chainsaw Man, I told myself that this is definitely a manga that an edgy middle schooler would read. Like, you can't tell me there isn't a monster drinking, slip not listening teenager whose favorite manga is Chainsaw Man. Is that inherently a bad thing? No, not at all. But Chainsaw Man is a quality manga at the end of the day, so I can't be surprised that people are fans of it. But on surface level, the manga gave off this very edgy vibe. I wasn't gonna read it, but I decided to say fuck it and went ahead and read it. But Chainsaw Man is such a fun and wild ride. Reading this manga puts you through a roller coaster of emotions. First, you'll be watching these characters live a happy life, flip the page, and then bam, people are dying left and right. Then we'll be back to happy times. Chainsaw Man sometimes feels like a Looney Tune cartoon with how wild things got in the manga. I feel like that's what sets Chainsaw Man apart from other mangas in Shonen Jump, and I absolutely love Chainsaw Man for that. The characters in Chainsaw Man are definitely something to remember. I don't think there was a character I outright hated. I almost outright hated Kobeni, but then we got that restaurant scene with her and Denji, and I, started to like her more. I at least could tolerate each character. Denji, in all honesty, is definitely one of my favorite main characters in current Shonen Jump. When I see Denji, I see a bit of myself. My man Denji just wants some cheeks. I completely get that. I'm definitely always out here trying to get some cheeks. I like how different Denji's goals are from other shonen main protagonists. His goals tie into how emotionally damaged he is, and I just want to see my man Denji live the rest of his life happy with a good girl who doesn't try to kill him. I definitely want to do a separate video on Denji in the future, so I won't talk too much about my man in this video. But let's shift over to Aki. I did not like Aki at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, yo. Like, at all. So when Denji destroyed his balls in their first fight, I was cheering, while also holding my own balls, cause I can feel that pain, bro. Then as the manga went on, Aki started to grow on me. But man, he has it rough. Aki received L after L. Aki took an L and he never bounced back. Like when Himino died, I felt bad for my man Aki because that was his day one. That was his closest friend and she got killed off. Then my man Aki lost his arm. Like, Aki been through the ringer. And even though all the bullshit, he never stopped fighting. I respect Aki for that. He was able to power through the pain. And speaking of power, let's talk about power. I was kind of conflicted about power when we were first introduced to her. She has a good design, but she also is a bloodthirsty psycho. But what really made me start liking Power was when she offered my man Denji the opportunity to touch her booze if he saved her cat. And even though it was a trap from the start, she kept her promise, which makes her a good girl in my book. Even though she's a lying, deceiving, bloodthirsty human hater, I'ma let it slide. And speaking of waifus, we have to talk about Makima. When we were first introduced to Makima, I did not expect her to turn out the way she is now. Like, I had this feeling that there was something up with Makima, but it was always in the back of my mind. But her surprise villain turn was insane and well executed. Makima is currently one of my favorite villains in Shonen Jump just because of how well executed she was. When we first met her, we thought she was a wifey material. I mean, I guess she still is. I mean, have you seen that wagon on her? Then as we get further into the series, we learn that she's an extremely cunning and manipulative person. The thing she does to Denji, Power, Aki, and others is just so fucked up. Makima does a lot of scummy things that we should hate her for. Bruh, she's such a baddie, like I'm not that mad at her. And let's not forget about some of the more minor, but still enjoyable characters. There's Rize. I really thought she was going to be the one for Denji. She really played not only Denji, but also the readers as well. Then there's Beam, and who didn't love this guy? He was always a joy to have on screen, or page technically, I don't know. The man was a ride or die to the very end, literally. And what about Himino? I was actually starting to like her, and she was in consideration for best girl, but was taken from us too soon. Her death actually made me upset. Like, I know people die a lot in Chainsaw Man, like a lot, but Himeno's death was just saddening because like it was like we thought she was gonna be a main character and then she just got off. Like it just told us that like, yeah, nobody's safe. Nobody is safe in this manga. And also Captain Kashibi, he's pretty badass. I actually really like him, and it was fun seeing him repeatedly kill Power and Denji over and over again. All in all, Chainsaw Man has a great cast of characters, and I can't wait to see what the characters do in the future. Well, mainly Denji, because you know the rest of the characters are kind of in the gulag. When reading Chainsaw Man, one thing is for sure, it's never lacking in big epic moments. Even in the first chapter, when we see Denji get set up by the Yakuza boss, who is revealed to be controlled by the zombie devil, and we see both Denji and Pochita get cut into pieces and thrown into a dumpster. Then we have that heartwarming flashback of Denji and Pochita, and how Denji wants Pochita to live a normal life by taking over Denji's dead body. It just shows you how much Denji cared for Pochita. Then Pochita, being the goodest boy that he is, sacrificed himself so that Denji could continue to live and follow his dreams. And Pochita wanted to be there to see it. This was such a touching moment for an otherwise pretty dark first chapter. I really hope the anime does the scene justice. I can just imagine the music that's going to be playing. Then we get the best part of the chapter. Denji finally transforming into Chainsaw Man. This part was just a taste of what's to come in the manga. And honestly, this scene alone, I'm surprised Chainsaw Man was even allowed in Shonen Jump. Like, I know a lot of modern shonens are, you know, kind of violent, but Chainsaw Man is just on a different level. How did it get in Shonen Jump? How? But Denji transforming into Chainsaw Man for the first time will always be iconic. Another great moment in the series is when Denji got to grab Power's breast. I don't know why this moment sticks out for me, but this scene was also really fun to read through. We finally get to see Denji achieve his goal of finally touching some breasts, and I cheered for my man. He earned his reward. This moment also made me like Power a lot more. The fact that she kept her word made me like her more. I mean, she wasn't planning to actually let Denji grope her, but she changed her mind and decided to keep her word. In real life, I don't know many girls who would actually keep their word like Power did, especially when it comes to something like letting a dude squeeze your breast. I actually think this is where Power became the best girl for me. But also, do you guys remember Cosmo? I bet a lot of you guys forgot about her, didn't you? Well, Cosmo isn't a character that was talked about much or even was popular enough to be remembered, but she did have a moment that I still think about to this day. I'm talking about when Cosmo forced Santa Claus to understand everything in the universe, leaving Santa Claus only able to say Halloween for the rest of her life. I don't know why, but this moment always stuck out to me because I would never want to experience this. I would rather die than to be downgraded to a glorified vegetable. But let's not forget the fights. Oh, where do I start? Let's start with my second favorite fight, Denji versus the Eternity Devil. This fight fuels my inner meathead. These two ended up fighting for 3 days until the Eternity Devil just gave up and pleaded for Denji to kill him. This fight was simple but fun to read. No complex strategies aside from Denji drinking the blood of the Eternity Devil. Just nothing but blood and chainsaws. Oh, it was glorious. While Katana Man was the first human devil hybrid we met besides Denji, I think the coolest hybrid we met was Rize. The Bomb Girl arc was pretty epic. From the relationship between Rize and Denji to their eventual conflict, the entire arc was fantastic. But the highlight of the arc was definitely Denji and Beam versus Bomb Girl and Typhoon Devil. First off, the design for the Typhoon Devil is just like insane. Like, look at this thing. But the coolest part is when Denji came into the fight riding Beam the Shark Devil. Like, look at this panel. This panel looks like the cover art of a heavy metal band. Like, you can't tell me this isn't cool. I want this panel as a poster on my wall. But we can't have a Chainsaw Man video without talking about arguably the craziest moment in the manga. That being the fight against the Darkness Devil during the International Assassins arc. Man, where do I start with this one? First off, this might be the most disturbing design I've ever seen for any character in the series. Or any character ever. Like, what do you make of this thing? Like, who discovered you? Scooby-Doo. Then there's this panel. This panel is probably the most iconic panel in Chainsaw Man, and I can't wait to see this panel in the anime. And the Darkness Devil proceeds to then completely stomp everyone in this fight, removing everyone's arms in an instant, then proceeds to slice up Beam, turn Denji into a pretzel, cause Aki and Angel to start just bleeding, and much more. It wasn't until Makima showed up to match the Darkness Devil in power that the one-sided ass whooping would end. This fight, or let me rephrase that, this beating was absolutely vicious and spectacular to watch. I couldn't list every fight here, but these fights were some of my favorites. Also, shout out to when Denji lit himself on fire to fight Santa Claus. So I just got done reading the final chapter of Chainsaw Man, or the final chapter of the public safety arc, or public safety saga, whatever it is. So it was a fine ending. I liked it. I have some notes right here about it. I liked the ending. It did its job ending off this saga. It closed off this storyline or this arc, and then it's leading us right into the next one, you know. The big sad truth, bro, like, this man Denji was only, so like, Makima's power, she can't be harmed by attacks. And Denji's, you know, his little attack, the chainsaw, wasn't an attack. It was just so, like, you know, he wants Makima to be like a part of him. So like, when he told us that she recognizes people by scent, and that like he was able to trick her by scent, so, like, she only scented Chainsaw Man, or like, oh no, she was able to recognize people by scent. She didn't you know, he was bagging on this hope that Makima didn't notice Denji, but that she only noticed Chainsaw Man. And it was true that she didn't notice Denji sneaking up on her. She never sensed Denji. It's kind of like Black Cat and Spider-Man. Like, oh, Black Cat only likes Spider-Man, she doesn't like Peter Parker. Makima only liked Chainsaw Man, she did not like Denji. That it's so sad to see, bro. Like, she did all this flirting and mind games with my boy Denji just for like his alter ego, bro. Like, she really didn't like my boy Denji. She wanted Chainsaw Man's heart, not Denji's heart. Like, my boy Denji was like in the dirt finding that out. Like, I know he like was doing good on, I know it must have broke his heart when he was able to kill her, bro. Like, not because he killed like girl he likes, but just because she did not like him back. Oh no, it was a really good chapter, a really nice way to end off, you know, Chainsaw Man Arc 1, Part 1. I don't know. What do we call this? I prefer to call it the Public Safety Saga, bro. So I kind of want to conclude this video with just, wow, just Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man really came in here 2019 and was the breath of fresh air that Shonen Jump needed. Fujimoto came into the game and was like, I've already shook up things once, let me do it again. During its run, Chainsaw Man provided a lot for us. It provided us a lot of fun, a lot of great times, epic fight scenes, great characters, a pretty good storyline, and fantastical villain. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Fujimoto, for giving us this great work. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chainsaw Man.